A very good morning. Euro dollar is moving back in towards the upside. Today we have some very important news with NFP coming out in the afternoon, at least if you're based in Amsterdam. So what we can see over here is a very strong bullish reaction from this area of both daily demand and 4-hour demand. Yesterday I was looking for a candle close below this low. So this one over here, but we didn't get it. It was more just a liquidity grab and then a very aggressive V-shaped reaction back in towards the upside. So today we have NFP, so I'm being very hesitant with trading these major dollar pairs, mainly focusing on other pairs to be honest. But the overall price action is still very descending and corrective in towards the downside. So I'm looking to see what is going to be happening next. Obviously, the overall internal structure is bearish, so we're creating lower lows and we're creating lower highs. We had kind of like this liquidity grab over here above this high, but then price just continued in towards the downside. So obviously, until this high is broken over here, I'm still looking for that further downside push on euro dollar. If we are able to close above this high, so this high over here, and we see a strong impulse in towards the upside, then from next week I will definitely be looking for those longs further in towards the upside. Otherwise, what I just see happening with this NFP is maybe a liquidity grab above this high, tapping towards that supply zone, and then just that further downside continuation. So that's what I'm kind of looking at for today. If the price or if the market does push further down, then obviously we'll just be moving below this area of demand, and then I do expect prices to trickle back down in towards these black lines over here, this area of 4-hour demand, which is based at around 100 or 1.07, excuse me. So that's pretty much what I have standing for euro dollar. Going in towards the 15-minute time frame over here, we can see that the 15-minute is still swing bearish. So this over here is our swing high, this over here is your swing low. Pretty much very corrective ascending price action over here. So there's a lot of liquidity being built up below these lows. So preferably you would want to see kind of like now with supply created and the liquidation of this high, the market, let's say, start to tank down lower and at least reach this low over here. Again, grab liquidity, then push up, or grab liquidity, pull back, and then just continue down lower. So that's pretty much what I'm looking at on the 15-minute. Often when you see this kind of price action, you do see that downside correction occur. So let's keep an eye out on the 5-minute over here on the 15-minute, because we do have a change of character. So this was your high, and then this bearish candle over here was your low. So we've pushed up in towards the highs. So we got this push up, push down, break of this low, now pull back in towards this buy before the sell candle, and now you could see a further push down from that area of supply. But it is very risky to start shorting from here because of the overall momentum in towards the upside, that V-shaped very strong reaction that we saw from the market. So it's very similar to, for example, let me see over here. So we get kind of like that impulse up, and then a strong V-shaped reaction, and then the market just starts to trickle down lower. Obviously, we have seen V-shaped reactions in the past where it also didn't happen, that the market continued up higher. So just keep that in mind as well. But the market has kind of been sustaining these price levels over here and hasn't really directly seen that downside push. Obviously, the market is also ranging due to NFP that we have in the afternoon. So keep that in mind that it could turn out to be a very slow morning / beginning of the afternoon until the news release is out. But in normal circumstances, I would be confident or more confident that the market would look good to start pushing down from this level in price. Now, going in towards the dollar index, what is happening over there? So the dollar index is ranging, guys. It's crazy how this market is moving at the moment. Over here we have our low, over here we have our high, and then obviously we can just very clearly see 75% mark acting as resistance, 25% mark acting as our support. So this is an area of support where we would expect the market to push back up from. So yeah, keep that in mind. But again, it's NFP in the afternoon, so I'm not going to be playing any guessing games on these major dollar pairs. Mainly be waiting what the news will bring us. I hope to see a further push in towards the upside, but let's say we do tank down lower, we'll just be stuck inside of this range. And then the market will kind of find its feet again before deciding then to move either up or down. So that's the dollar index. Moving in towards Aussie dollar, because Aussie dollar is looking interesting for this morning. So overall, we've seen a break of structure over here on that 4-hour swing low. So we got a break of structure. However, directly after that break of structure, we saw it also as the same on euro dollar, kind of that V-shaped bullish reaction. I'm not going to be focusing too much on this. I'm just going to be looking at the overall market structure here. So we've got that impulse down, correction, now impulse down, and just kind of like straight away a correction back in towards the upside. Not very strange. What we've simply done is just tap in towards daily demand over here. So let me just show you this area of daily demand. So this is your area of daily demand, this one over here, and as you can see, we liquidated the lows which we had drawn on for a very long time. So it could happen now that the market is just ready to start pushing up higher back in towards this area of supply. Keep that in mind, and that this was just your liquidity grab fueling the move back in towards the highs. Also, just from a support and resistance perspective, I don't trade support and resistance, but you do see that this is a very strong level of support. We grabbed the liquidity, so it could mean that we're now ready to fuel a higher move in towards that area of supply based on the daily. Now, the thing that I don't like about the 4 hour for the downside is the fact that there's not really any liquidation that occurred in this move down. So that could be a bad sign. However, if you do dive in towards the 15-minute time frame, obviously this is kind of like an area of consolidation over here with liquidity resting above it. Grab the liquidity. Obviously you see kind of straight away a bearish candle once you pop up above it, but yeah, a lot of bullish momentum in towards the highs, and now the market's just consolidating inside here. So preferably what I would like to see inside of this 15-minute area of supply is maybe a spike up, grab liquidity above the highs, and then see a shift, break kind of like this internal structural low, because the overall internal structure was bearish in towards the downside, and then flipped bullish as soon as we saw a break of this liquidity high. So now what you want to see is kind of like a push up, then a pullback, and then a push up, and then a shift in that internal structure. This becomes your supply zone, and then further shorts in towards the downside if you are happy to take those shorts. So keep that in mind. Going in towards the 4 hour again, obviously it does look good to start pushing down lower, but just remember, yeah, there's a lot of liquidity still above this area of consolidation, and also my remarks based on the daily. So stay safe and wait for a little bit of extra confirmation. I would recommend on that 50-minute time frame. Now going in towards pound dollar. So GBPUSD, what are we seeing over here? Yeah, so we tapped in towards this fresh area of demand. We liquidated all the lows again, and then yeah, boom, V-shaped reaction in towards the highs. So now we're back where we were. So if you want to trade these kind of ranges, guys, I personally don't really like trading them that much, but just buy at that 25% mark. You would have made so much money already, and now it's sell at the 75% mark, I would say. So look for any potential shorts in towards downside from this region of price. We've now liquidated this high over here. So you could start looking for that further downside on pound dollar. Maybe with NFP will just pop up and then, for example, pop back down again. I do prefer a further downside move on pound dollar. Obviously we're ranging, so there will be a very large move in the very near future on pound dollar. Which direction is still uncertain, preferably in towards the downside with the overall market structure that we have, with this being our high, this being our low. So pushing towards downside, pull back, and then obviously you would like to see a further push in towards the downside. But it could also still be back up into higher prices where we have fresh areas of supply. Going back in towards the 4 hour for now, just wait and see how we react. There's still liquidity open. We have kind of like this descending trend line, which we're rejecting. So with NFP, I wouldn't be surprised if we grab the liquidity and then, for example, push down. If we do push further down, then yeah, we'll likely just pop back down in towards this area of demand, or this area of demand over here, which broke these highs. So yeah, for the rest, not really trading pound dollar. Moving in towards Kiwi dollar. So what are we seeing from Kiwi dollar? Sorry, this is the exact same concept. Just buy at that 25% mark, rejection over here, and then just push back in towards the highs. Yeah, I mean, you can trade this on the lower time frame, but again, it's just not my strategy, and doesn't really hold my preference. Going back towards the 4 hour, I'm not going to really focus too much on the 15. I'm just waiting for a clean move. Obviously, we have some demand inside of here on the lower time frame, which push price up. Let's see if we can sustain a further push up higher, for example, in towards this area of fresh supply. That would be nice, and then maybe see some further upside continuation before, yeah, further downside based on the daily trend, because the daily does still look good for a higher push upwards. Moving on in towards gold. So gold provided us with a big move yesterday, back up in towards the highs. I'm just keeping in mind that we have broken this overall trend in towards the downside, and we have some fresh demand formed over here. We didn't tap into it yet. Maybe we still will. There was some rejection over here on the daily time frame from that area of supply, so this last buy before the big sell-off candle, but now the overall momentum has shifted here on the daily, so I am looking for further upside now on gold. Overall, if we just look at the daily momentum, obviously we are being pretty bullish in towards the highs. So I'm just looking for that further upside now from gold. And why have I shifted my kind of like bias? Well, it's pretty much because the 4 hour over here is kind of moving its momentum. What I'm looking actually at is pretty much, okay, we had this liquidity high over here. So this was kind of like the range high. Now we've taken out that liquidity over there. Now I would prefer to push in towards the downside, back down in towards this area of daily demand today with NFP before then trading it up higher. Let's say with NFP gold does rise, then obviously just look at this area of supply over here at around 2072. That is where we will pop into. I'm not necessarily looking for that short trade from here, but I am looking for that long trade from here from around 2026 if gold does fall in towards that area. And on the lower time frame, there is a lot of liquidity still open below kind of like this trend line in towards the upside. So keep that in mind. But as we can see, price is just ranging for now until the news drops. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have an amazing educational video, by the way, dropping today on YouTube. So make sure to stay tuned for that. And I will speak soon. Thanks.